Hello everybody. This video is going to deal with how to load your own bulk film into two different types of bulk loaders and then into cassettes, reusable cassettes like these. I have here about 45 exposures of demonstrator film, and what I've done is I've taken an actual 100-foot film core and I've taped this to the core to try and keep things together as we move between the two different systems. Normally these are not taped to the cores. And what I'm going to do is show you how to load the different systems, and then once we've done that I'm going to take this Western loader, and it has actual 50 ISO Ilford in it, and I'm going to load these two cassettes to show you how it's done with this. So I'm going to start with, this one. This is the Lloyds system. It's an old system. It's very compact, very nice. When I don't have film in it, I use this nifty storage thing that I don't really know what it's for to hold the handle so that the handle doesn't get lost. These also don't come rubber banded, and remember, all of this that I'm showing you would be done with a spool about this big, and it would have to be done in the dark, either in a dark bag or in your bathroom. I use a dark bag. There's ample space even in a small dark bag to do what I'm showing you. So you'll take the film. Here's the leader. Film just gets dropped right in there. Let me show it. Let me do this again so you can actually see what I'm doing. Okay. So here's the empty canister. Here's the film with the leader. You put the film spool onto the center column, and then feed the leader through this felt-lined opening. There we go. That's done. It would do that a little bit less so with 100 feet. Put on the lid, tighten it, and now you've got a nice light-proof seal. The leader right here, you would take your reusable cassette and you would tape the leader onto this cassette, onto the spool, reassemble the whole cassette, close that, insert your handle, and just count off the turns until you got to as many exposures as you wanted. It's a pretty simple and user-friendly system. Just also a little bit squeaky, but it's old, and all things that are old are a little bit squeaky. So I'm going to tighten this up a little bit here. Now I'm going to show you how to load one of the Watson system loaders. So here's the Watson system. It's similar in that it's got a light-proof container. You have to unscrew a lid to get at. It's got a central column. With the other one, whereas the film went in this way, the film's going to go in this way. The emulsion side is down regardless, so it doesn't matter which way it goes in. In terms of, it matters which way it goes in for each system, but between the two systems, the net result is the same. So once you have it loaded, you feed the leader through here. You take this, make sure that the opening is not going to crush the leader. There we go. Remember, all this has to be done in complete dark. Now it's locked in place. That leader, you can pull it out. You can. It just takes a little bit of force. You can see that the holes on the leader engage this sprocket, so that as you load the film, you can see that this turns the sprocket and triggers that clicking. Excuse me. You don't need this long of a leader to load this, so that was just to demonstrate the clicking, but it's the same process. Once you get the leader out, you tape it to the spool, you reassemble the cassette right here, and then you just wind it. So that's how the Watson system works. Now I'm going to show you how to actually do it with real film. Right. So this is locked all the way back so that it's light proof. I forgot my tape. I have tape on here. That works. That's convenient. So I'm going to pull this out just a little bit so I have enough to work with. So what I do is I will line this up so that it's aligned, and then I'll actually pull it out a little bit from the edge of the leader and wrap the tape around that. And I find that gives me a pretty secure hold for the tape. I want to try and make sure that the holes line up with the sprocket. Now this actually does have a specific way that it has to go on. You'll see that it's not quite a perfect circle. There's an entry coming off like this. This entry has to point so that the film is coming into it like that, meaning that with this one, it gets loaded this way. And then this is a reusable base. It clicks on like that. The whole thing's assembled. Now get ready for some of the most exciting cinema you've ever seen as I reel this in silence and you can count the clicks. That was 27 exposures. Now you notice as I reeled, the clicks got faster and faster because the amount of film on the spool increased, meaning that each rotation pulled more film out of the light-proof container because the diameter was increasing. I'm going to reel this one more time until right before it clicks off 28. There we go. And I do that to give myself just a little bit of extra space and get that 27th frame. Now I rotate this back. That moves the gap back here so that now I have a light-proof seal going to the main film compartment again. And all this film, which had been completely fine, is now ruined because it's been exposed to light. So I'm going to cut this, pull the cassette out of here a little bit. Most of my cameras require a notched leader. A couple of them don't, but they are okay with notched leaders. So I'm going to notch that. Set that off to the side. I need to grab some tape, just a second. Alright, got some tape. I'm going to use electrician's tape because that's what was handy. Place the tape right here on the leader. Pull it out just a little bit. And it's very important when you load the Watson system. You can see that this isn't like a 120 reel where it's the same on both sides. This longer end here has to go away from the handle. And we're going to wrap the tape onto here. Pull it out a little bit more, and I pull it out this way until it's lined up with this with the handle assembly. Take the cassette body. As you can see, this one came apart in a different way, so the big thing is that the film has to go in this direction. Put on the reusable end cap again. Sometimes this is tricky. There we go. That's assembled. You want to make sure that when these are assembled, that they are on entirely, that the end caps are on entirely. It's a terrible feeling to shoot an entire cassette, pull out the film, and then have the end cap pop off. Trust me, it's a terrible feeling. So tighten. So I'm going to take up enough. There's a little bit of slack in there. I tightened it just enough to take up that slack. Close that lid. Now I've rotated it so that the opening is right here again, and now we are set to start winding the film. Uh-oh. That's so a couple things. You'll notice I was going to get to 27. I was not going to count the first click because that was the one that I just had taken up the last because I was starting right there. I'd taken the last one almost to 28. You'll also notice when I got to about 22, it stopped clicking. That means that I'm out of film. I have used the last of that 100 feet. I'm 100% certain. But I'm going to open it up. I guess I hadn't. So what happened was, it jumped the sprockets. You can see here the holes are no longer lined up with the sprockets. I just thought I'd run out. But there's about 24 exposures on that. And that's good enough for me. I'm glad I didn't just open it up. That would have been embarrassing. I'm going to end that. Cut a notch in it for my cameras that require it. And set it off to the side. And there we are. Now the last thing to do, because the film comes in a spool, it will retain a memory of that spool shape. So if it's not taped to the inside like this, when you rotate this back this way and you have the opening in here, it will suck the leader right back into the compartment. So you want to make sure that when you're done, you always tape this here, tape this to the inside, so that you don't have to go back into your dark bag and fiddle around with it. That's a mess. That's a good way to accidentally screw up 100 feet of film. Not that I know from personal experience. Now this is a best management practice that I use. When I have film in a loader, I write the type of film on some masking tape and then tape it so that it's over whatever is opened. On the Lloyds, I run the masking tape around here. That prevents me from accidentally exposing any of the good film, and it reminds me what type of film is in it. And sometimes, I haven't done it on this one, but sometimes I will also write down how many rolls of film I've loaded so that I know how many I have left. If I have 10 cassettes sitting out but I only have 8 rolls of film, then I know that I don't need all 10 cassettes. So that's some of what you can do with loading your own film to help make shooting film much more economical. You can buy black and white film, which I do, and develop at home. You can also buy bulk color and slide film. However, they do make color and slide home developing kits. I haven't tried them. I don't really have a huge interest in it. It's very precise work, a little bit more difficult. You can load your own film in color and for color and slide use, but you will need to send it to a specialty shop, because if you just take it to your corner drugstore, the way that they develop film is they have a machine that cuts these things out. It doesn't disassemble them, so it physically destroys the cassettes. So if you bulk roll color or slide film, take it to a specialty shop, mail it to a specialty shop, and make sure they know it's a reusable cassette, not to be destroyed. They have to unload it by hand. Whether or not there'll be an extra fee for that, I don't know. Probably depends on the shop. But that's one of the reasons I only do black and white film with reusable cassettes. I don't want to risk having these destroyed. It took me a long time to find those at a reasonable price.